Lesson 5. We're going to be using the clone tool and the healing tool. They're both very similar, but there's some subtle differences. We're going to go over just the basics. As you can see along here, there's a lot of options to work with, but we're going to be keeping it fairly basic. For this image, you can see that the area is rather small, so I'm going to bump the size up to something a little bit more reasonable. Now, what the clone tool does is it copies from one area of an image to another. To select the area of the image, you put the cursor over where you want to start, hold down the control key, and do a left click. Now, as you start to move the mouse around as you press it, you can see that it's making a copy of where it originally started. And as far as you keep going, it will keep copying. Now, if you let go, you can go someplace else and the source returns back to its original starting place. Right here you can see that the edges are kind of fuzzy. If we select a hard edge brush and start in, you can see that the edges are much harder. Let's reset everything. Now at this point I'm going to fix this missing area, and to do so I'm going to select an area, in this case in line, because that's the direction that it goes primarily. Again, control click, come over here, left press, and I start brushing. You can see right here that it won't do that corner because that's an original area. But let's just finish this off. Now I'm going to select an area right about here, touch that up, and you can see that that looks like it's a pretty reasonable recreation of what was missing. On the second image, I would suggest that you zoom in a bit down here on this area of the statue, and you can see that there's some scribing on the back of it, Obama Barack. You need to remove that. And let's zoom in again on the houseboat here. And there's two areas, over here and over here, that again you'll be using the clone tool on to remove all of this tagging. Now this is a difficult one. It's going to take some time and some patience to do properly. On the fourth image, we're going to use the healing tool. I'll just reset this to default size. The first thing to do though is I will want to duplicate the layer, and we are going to be working on the top layer. I'm going to select an area here, a control click, and now start brushing over areas that I want to remove these wrinkles from. When I come down here, I'm going to want to select something a little closer, but you can see what happened there. Let's undo that. So we'll come back up here, select, and I'm going to use shorter strokes so that I don't catch any other area. And let's work on this also. Now, one of the reasons why I did it on a copy is so that you can see what the differences are. Also, an interesting trick is that if you do it on an upper copy, you can then start making adjustments with the transparency and create different levels of the wrinkles. Here it is unretouched a little bit, and you can see that as I increase the opacity of the upper layer, the wrinkles kind of fade away. It's almost like you can recreate different ages. Now, there's other wrinkles on here along this eye, perhaps up here in the forehead also that you'll want to adjust. And then finally, the last one. Again, let's zoom in. Here you have some around the eyes, a little bit on the forehead, and maybe a little bit of touch up around the chin. That's the basics that you need to do for lesson 5.